I thought I would take this opportunity just to sit back in this lovable chair and just simply say thank you for all the hard work and the support that you guys have put into this freaking weirdo from Central PA wanting to start a YouTube channel. But that does not happen without, the persuasion of my cousin, which we were supposed to do, and as always, all the friends and family that support me through this journey, because we still have a long way to go. But as always, in the big words up there, we appreciate you. Now then, why am I sitting in this chair? Because I was having a little bit of an epiphany about all the stuff that I've been recently doing, and realizing that when I ventured out one evening and ran into the same people that I ran into back in the summertime, we still have these great adventures and great stories we tell. We tell them because we're Gen X and we're entitled. We get to say all the great things about what we did. Doesn't matter if it was lawn darts. It doesn't matter if it was old school hide and seek, playing football in your backyard and having no idea where the out of bounds line. And I can say this with great respect with my cousins and everybody down the road where we played street football and football in our backyards. We never realized and no idea where the end zones were or the sidelines were. And if something stupid happened, we would just do it all over again and just call it a redo. That was our instant replay back in the day. All these Gen X stuff, and then I realized, I could do yet another like Gen Z millennial video, but it actually can form right in to the videos that I do about the club life. Gen X club life is pretty much exactly all those videos that I have done. I have done 5 episodes of that little series, and quite honestly, this one, I'm going to do another one coming up right here, right now. And it's going to basically pretty much just not necessarily be a refresher. It's going to basically be when you went out. Do you know who you were meeting up with? Do you know the people that were there? Were there famous people there? Were there regulars? Were there newcomers? Were there wallflowers? Were there actual dancers and entertainers? And was the DJ any good? Most of all, was it worth the entertainment? Because trust me, I will say this, and I will speak for Gen X. We had more fun without social media than Gen Z does today. I will continue to preach about it, and I will continue to say that. There's this thing up here called a subscribe button. You want to hit that if you want to be somewhat shape or form told of anything new that comes around. But I am doing a Club Life Volume 6. It is Who Do You Know? Did you have fun? Were there stars there? Were there famous people there? Were there alpha males there? And was the actual dancing worth it? I think I'm ready to go to work. And I think this one is going to be fun. Roll the intro. I have done so many videos, just a handful, about the old club life. Me as an old school b-boy and an old school dancer. I still remember the times that, there's so many times way back in our early days of the late 80s, early 90s that I started getting into it. But as time has progressed, it seems like the lifestyle is almost kind of not necessarily diminished, but there's different generations and different variations of us, not necessarily just us and Gen X, but Gen X, the millennials and even Gen Z today, and you can even include a little bit of Gen Alpha having early times of going out and going to dance parties in somebody's kitchen or something like that. Every situation is different, and that's something we, us at Gen X, and even the boomers back in the day, had to evolve and realize that times have changed. I think I'm one of those people that have realized that times have so dramatically changed. The figurization of times have changed. The styles, time frames, styles of music, styles of dancing. We could go all the way back to the 50s to do that. We could go back to the 20s with the Roaring 20s and the dancings and all that. And seeing all the Charleston dances that you see on Facebook and Instagram and all that, which are freaking cool as heck. I'd love to go see that. I'd actually like to learn that someday. And it's not hard to learn if you still have, if you're still in your 40s, 50s and you still think you can run, go for it. There's people that still want to learn how to salsa dance. I'm down for that. One of my old school B girls back in the day at Penn State, she does that on and off as well, Megan. So why do I go back to doing club videos and all that? Because we at Gen X need to continue to hold on to what we have. I've talked many times about, what did we learn back in the day? What type of music were there? What were the DJs like? Do we still do circles? Do we still do dance circles? They are one of the most iconic things. When you go to a club and when they break open the circle, that's when most of the entertainment starts. Some people will do their things and do their dances, do their breaking, do their routines, do funk, do hip hop steps and routines. Some people will just be drunken stupors and just walk in and think they own it. And then security squashes that real quick. We still believe deep down. In fact, I will hold to my heart. I think Gen X had the greatest run of dance and clubs back in the day because I think we had the most excitement that ever had. Now, as I've said many times in the past, styles are different. Gen X, I believe, had the best times ever. We had no social media. We took care of all our issues and whatever. But times and places are different. The big cities, I've said this in another video, the cities are different than the suburbs. Clubs in Europe are different than clubs in America. Clubs in Japan, Korea, China, Indonesia, they are different from Europe. Every place is different from what we did in America. Music-wise, I'd say about 50-50. We would all listen to the same stuff. But there are also clubs that do nothing but house music and club music. There are clubs that are nothing but hip-hop and rap and crunk and whatever. But that depends on where you're at. And also, there's also many places that we are not allowed to go to, just in general. Sometimes there are places you can't go because, again, I've gone many times there are places you can't wear hoodies, you can't wear sneakers, you can't wear hats. You need to be dressed up and look like you're not necessarily $1 million, but you got to look the part where there may be a time that you may not even look the part, but you got to button up, whether it's a polo shirt or a dress shirt, doesn't matter. Look the part, they let you in. Simple enough. Do the rules, they let you in. Simple as that. But there are also places, and I'll start with this. There are places that are so hidden, you need a password, you got to dress the part, and you probably may want to find a parking spot that you're not going to get broken into. It's, but the weirdest thing is some of those places are the best places. And it's hit and miss when it comes to places that are in the deepest, darkest parts of a town, or they're in the outskirts of town, or they're in a place where you have to find parking, and then you have to find a way to get out of that area and avoid law enforcement, which many people have done and still try to do to this day. They try to do it like a video game. So Gen Z, I don't think Gen Z millennials really figure that out. Now, late millennials who are in the same category with us learn that pretty quickly because those people believe us. Gen Z, they'll find a way. Unless you look at all the memes of Gen Z kids believing they're better than law enforcement. And I'll just leave it at that. You just watch Facebook Reels and you'll see the difference. But I've said many times about the circles. I've said many times about the actual club environment, seeing the girls or whomever standing in front of a tub full of beer, and you just find 2 or 3, take them with you, and that was your intake for the evening, and you didn't buy anything else. You think you were just going to get the bartender's phone number? I don't know about that, but to his is their own, to her is their own. What is your lifestyle? What was the lifestyle? Did the circles come out? Did you enjoy the atmosphere? Let me explain something straight up. Atmospheres were very key for us in Gen X. The bigger the floor, the more fun you had. The smaller the floor, it was a little crammed and a little uncomfortable. And you had to go elsewhere in the club to either find fun, dance, or take care of whatever business you had. There's such a difference from back in the 70s because Gen Z will not understand the 70s. You have to go back to the old school mark of Studio 54, where it was the old Studio 54 on crazy enough, it is Studio 54 in New York City back in 1977 was one of the best dance clubs in the history of general history. And it was only around for a handful of years, just short of a decade. If you go back, and to be quite honest with you, if you actually go back and find the movie Studio 54, that's enough to get you going. But if you see the floor, because it was an old theater and it was renamed and renovated, that was a club atmosphere, especially in the disco era. You also want to have that openness of a dance floor. Then you go and look at the movie Saturday Night Fever, where John Travolta, what I call probably one of the best alpha males out there, they all went to that club called 2001 Odyssey. And if we kept watching that movie, that atmosphere was enough. We'll never be able to have that atmosphere and that livelihood. Not in the way that gangs and the drugs and the money situation was in the 70s. That truly was, it just brought out that game of the atmosphere. I don't believe Gen Z just has that type of thing. I don't feel it. And it's another thing of, like, do they have circles? Do they show off dance routines? What does Gen Z do? What do they do at the basement over at State College? Where do they go? I could not tell you, because being 50, you can't just join and go to clubs and know that they're running them. That's anywhere. The young people run everything now. And a 40, 50-year-old can't necessarily do that unless you go there, have a beer, or have one drink, and just watch and just say, I used to do that. One more thing, and I'll just shut this down. I think about who was there. Were you going there with friends? Were you meeting with friends? Did you all pack up in one car and go? I talked about this a while ago. Pre-gaming, getting in the car, go pick up other people. How many people did you fit in your Ford Focus or your Toyota Tercel? Did you pick 8, 9 people up, pack them in your trunk, and you got there and you had the time of your life? Did you get there? When you got there, did you get the drinks you had? Did you buy the shots? Did you find the people you were trying to find? Did 4 people that were supposed to go there, did 4 turn into 16, 20, and you hugged an entire corner, and it turned out to be a pretty stellar night? Were the famous people there? I mean, I'll say this, and I'll wind it down. Were there famous people there? Were there famous last name people there? Famous people that live in the area? Your parents make 7 figures, and the kids just use the credit card and just buy everybody shots and drinks and all that, and they don't worry about the outcome. I'm going to tell you an exact replica of an alpha male that you see in the club. I mean, they're buying all the shots. The girls are talking to them, giving out phone numbers, whatever. I don't know what that life is now, but back in Gen X in the 90s, you had no proof, no cell phones, no Twitter, no Facebook, not even MySpace. Maybe ICQ, but no MySpace. And it just goes to show you know the alpha males, the alpha females that just stick out like a sore thumb. You don't touch them, you don't talk to them because you feel like you're not good enough to even walk up and say hi anymore. The truest alpha male in old school days is John Travolta walking down the streets of Brooklyn with a can of paint in those high-heeled shoes, and he was still able to eat two pieces of pizza on the go in the beginning of Saturday Night Fever. I give him credit because he golfed 2 pieces of pizza and didn't stop anywhere to wash it down. That's a alpha male. But in the way, put everything together, we're still talking about, does Gen X have the best times? This is kind of a little bit of reminder, refresh. Did we have the best times, or is Gen Z gonna still walk around there with the A, and use TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and everything to blurt out to the entire 8.5 billion people that this is our time? I would like to personally say, as speaking for Gen X, try living in our shoes back in the 90s, early 80s, and the entire 90s and maybe the beginning of 2000s. I will take that time frame any day of the week.